Welcome to The Truth About Ed, a podcast where faith, reason, and education meet. I'm Dr. Jessica Betz, Director of Catholic Schools for the Diocese of Marquette, a lifelong learner seeking the deeper truths behind how and why we educate. I didn't start this podcast because I have all the answers. I started it because I'm searching for them in the stories of teachers, leaders, and communities, striving to form hearts and minds in truth and goodness. Together, let's explore what's working, what's not, and where God is leading us. One student, one classroom, one school, one community at a time. This is The Truth About Ed, unearthing the real story of education. If you chose to spend time with me today and tune into this podcast, it likely means that education matters deeply to you. You may be an educator, a leader, a teacher, or a parent navigating the educational system alongside your children. Whatever brought you here, I'm grateful. We are in this together, and together we will uncover the real stories in education and learn from them. Today, we will reflect on the theme, Called to Lead, Finding Strength in Solitude. It feels especially appropriate as I am walking through this episode alone. I do not pretend to have all of the answers. Instead, I believe they are found in community through shared stories, lived experience, and honest reflection. While today's conversation is a solitary one, future episodes will include remarkable guests who will join me in sharing their wisdom and truths about education. I began my educational journey in my very early 20s. It was quite interesting entering the public school and teaching high school when I was barely beyond high school myself. This is where my adventure begins. I taught in the public school for a number of years, both at the middle school and high school levels. Eventually, I made my way into the private sector, teaching middle school, and then to the university, teaching in the School of Education. I thought I would find myself a permanent position as a professor, but that changed quickly. One day, I received a phone call that changed my life and thrusted me into educational leadership. I'll never forget this moment, standing in my kitchen with my two loud children running around. When I close my eyes, I can still picture exactly where I was, what I was wearing, and all of the emotions that I felt. To be honest, I never wanted to be a principal. God had other plans for me, so I took the job. I have to stop and note that this seems to be a trend in Catholic education. Many of the leaders I know were called into leadership, sometimes against their own will. They didn't decide this role was right for them. God decided for them. This, to me, is significant. I learned very quickly as a principal that an individual who holds the power to make decisions also holds the power to make people both happy and angry. For some reason, the making people angry part was the part I was not prepared for. To me, this is the pinnacle of what makes educational leadership so lonely. The higher the leadership role, the lonelier it is, because you are responsible for the fate of what you lead. Your decisions hold tight to your fate and success in your job. Initially, I have to be honest and say I completely lacked confidence. I wish I could say that finding your confidence is easy, but finding confidence in leadership simply comes with having experience. Also, have you heard of imposter syndrome? Cleveland Clinic describes imposter syndrome as a psychological phenomenon where someone persistently feels like a fraud, disbelieves in the legitimacy of their own success, and has a fear of being exposed. Although imposter syndrome isn't a true medical diagnosis, it's characterized by increasing levels of self-doubt and negative perception. Rather than believing in or appreciating their own achievements, someone with imposter syndrome tends to attribute their success and self-worth to external factors such as luck, random chance, goodwill. The first step to defeating imposter syndrome is recognizing it. If you can recognize it and label it, you can begin to see the patterns. As leaders, we have to stop falling prey to this. Imposter syndrome can get in the way of our decision-making, our ability to find our confidence, and lastly, our chance at not feeling so alone in leadership. After years of decision-making as a school leader, I've found there are steps to decision-making that can help the process feel less taxing and less lonely. Here they are, the steps to sound decision-making in a Catholic school setting. Number 1, do not make decisions quickly. Take your time and process all aspects. Taking your time may feel awkward, but others must understand that good decisions are never rushed. Number 2, consult a mentor. Contact people you trust and people who have more experience than you. I always call these mentors my people who are smarter than me. Number 3, pray. In addition to consulting a mentor or mentors, don't forget to consult the greatest mentor possible, God. Number 4, run your final decision by your internal team that you trust. This team can be your administrative assistant, lead teacher, assistant principal, priest, board chair, or whomever you trust on your internal school team. Number 5, involve all necessary parties. Some decisions are left to the office, while others can include stakeholders such as teachers and staff. If you can give others a voice before you make your final decision, you really should. Number 6, make your final decision announcement. Be sure to share with others the important steps that you took when making this decision. This will help them understand that you do not take decision-making lightly. I hope that you find this process helpful. In my early years of education and through my schooling, I searched for my type of leadership, my unique leadership style. We all have one, even if we are not in a leadership role. My style is called shared leadership. This approach to leadership can lighten your load, help you to recognize leadership in others, create a succession plan naturally, and can also lead to less leadership loneliness. Share your leadership. It's not just yours. I want to provide you with an example. I am not great at creating the middle school academic daily schedules for students and teachers. When I was a teacher, I'm sure I could dive right in and design a schedule that would work well. However, when I wasn't living in the teacher space, this became much more difficult for me. So what did I do? I shared my leadership. I offered for my middle school teachers to create their own schedule. Turns out they wanted to make their own schedule. And the schedule they produced was top notch. They have to live it, so they should have skin in the game. This was an easy way to share my leadership and to empower others. As leaders, we have to trust in those we work with. I truly believe that sharing leadership also equates to natural succession planning. When we allow others to take on new roles, leadership roles, we can see how they excel or do not excel. Natural leaders will want to take on opportunities and they will thrive. Lastly, sharing your leadership, leaning on others, trusting others, it allows us the opportunity to feel less lonely. Leadership is not a game of me, but rather a game of us. Taking this idea a step further, knowing when to let go of things is vital. Let me guess. If you are a leader, educator, or teacher, you probably have trouble letting others do tasks that you could do yourself. Sadly, the typical leadership personality is one that likes to control all the things, perhaps even to a point of exhibiting some OCD tendencies. I see this happening all the time with amazing leaders. When I start to see this too much, this is what I say. Let's play the me game. There is a list of things that only you can do. Let's face it, in our jobs, there are certain tasks that no one else can do and that no one else really should be doing. This is the me list. These are the tasks that we should first focus our time on. Let go of everything else that is not on that list. Delegate these tasks and don't feel bad about it. We cannot humanly tackle everything. It is impossible, so let go. This is not an easy game, but it is essential to use this strategy so we do not burn out. This strategy also plays into the concept of shared leadership, which ultimately creates a space where we feel less lonely. Lastly, I want to tackle the concept of feeling small in leadership. It is difficult to stand tall after making a hard decision. I often tell people that any gray hair I have is actually due to this, feeling small and defeated in this lonely role of leadership, especially after a difficult meeting, dealing with a large discipline issue, or making a big decision. Thankfully, these moments are short-lived, but they pass by like a freight train heavy on the tracks. We can feel these moments right to our core. Ironically, it is these situations that help us to grow in our leadership skills, to become better at what we do. Sometimes when I endure something terrible, something that makes me want to crawl into a hole and never come out, I remind myself to look at these circumstances differently. Even though what is endured is not always easy and is sometimes downright terrifying, we can still feel grateful. These circumstances are one more drop in our experience bucket. The fuller the bucket is, the more successful we can be. Also, the fuller the bucket is, the closer we are to defeating imposter syndrome and finding our true confidence. Experience is where most of the learning in leadership occurs. That sounds like a crazy thing to say, but every experience we have as a private school leader is another experience we get to check off the list. Every time we go through a trial, we are that much better and that much more prepared for next time. In fact, next time we can say, I've already experienced this before and I know what to do and what to expect. This is actually exciting. We can track real, tangible growth. And whether this checklist is an actual checklist on paper or on a computer or just in our heads, it is a growing list of accomplishments, making us stronger day by day. Figuratively, we want to fill this experience bucket as full as possible. While you may feel the intense loneliness that comes with leadership, it is important to know you have resources to help and that God always has your back. I've had to tell myself this so many times. If God is with you, no one can be against you. It is a reminder that helps me move forward in difficult situations. Additionally, it is important to have people you can rely on and trust. It is important to have the opportunity to discuss the things we encounter in our jobs, as these things can often weigh us down, making us feel so heavy that we feel we can no longer endure our positions. Do not be fooled. You are strong, but you can't lead alone. Even though leadership is a lonely place, you must allow yourself the chance to be surrounded and a little less lonely. Let's be honest, dealing with parents is absolutely horrific. Sorry, parents, but it might be the most difficult thing we do as an educational leader. If you are a parent listening to this podcast, please be gentle with us. We care about your concerns and we want to work with you, although we may not always agree. Leaders, these circumstances are drops in your experience bucket, and we like this. Teachers, we love you, but navigating disagreements in areas of conflict with you is kind of scary too. We want to support you. We want to share our leadership with you, and we want you to feel empowered. Please do not forget that we cannot thrive in a healthy culture and climate if we are not a team. Leaders, when we struggle with our teachers, remember, this is another drop in the experience bucket. We are getting that much closer to finding our solid footing. The truth is, we can't control how others behave. Sometimes we must expect the worst and be ready for it. This is hard to say because I'm an optimistic person. I do believe the glass is always half full. However, if we expect that a meeting will not go well, if we expect that we will not have support or that we will be outnumbered, we are already braced for impact. It feels nice to not be surprised when things go poorly. And positively, it feels great when we are surprised because things go so well. This is an approach that I learned from my husband, and it really does make sense. How can we be truly prepared if we don't consider all outcomes, especially the bad ones? Leaders, educators, you've got this, and I believe in you. As we close this first episode, I want to speak directly to anyone who is leading and feeling alone. Leadership can be isolating. The weight of responsibility, the silence after a difficult decision, and the moments of solitude can feel heavy. But solitude is not the same as abandonment. Throughout salvation history, God has often done his deepest work in quiet places. Deserts, gardens, mountains, empty rooms. It is in those spaces that leaders are formed, strengthened, and refined. If you find yourself walking alone right now, trust that God is not absent. He is present, working and preparing you for what comes next. You were called to lead for some reason, not because you are perfect or have all of the answers, but because God saw something in you, courage, faith, and a willingness to say yes. Even when leadership feels lonely, you are never, ever walking alone. As this podcast unfolds, my hope is that it becomes a place of shared stories, honest reflection, and renewed courage. A reminder that while leadership can be solitary at times, we are always meant to journey together. Until next time, may God grant you wisdom in your decisions, strength in your solitude, and peace in knowing that He walks beside you always. Thank you for joining me for The Truth About Ed. If today's conversation inspired you, challenged you, or sparked new ideas, please share this episode and continue the dialogue. Let's keep searching for truth together, guided by faith, grounded in hope, and united in our call to make education a path to holiness and renewal. Until next time, may God bless your work and your witness in the world of education.